Good evening, guys. Welcome into
Hi,
another
everyone.
episode of 3 Men on the Record. This is episode 33, and we have another Tom on here. You guys know him as Gurus, and this is Tom. Of course, we have Jake and Scott, and I'm just going to be on for a little
Good
bit
evening.
because my internet is kind of iffy, although it's been pretty good so far.
Yeah.
Thank you for waiting. We had a little phones and the technology can be a pain sometimes. And we had a phone that didn't want to go to landscape mode, but we've worked it out, and you guys are gonna have a fun show tonight. They're gonna be talking about some Aussie music from Australia and different artists and some favorite bands, and I'm sure I would think that you'd have to include AC/DC with that. And I'm really excited to see what they bring to the table tonight. And Tom, tell us a little bit about yourself. This is a little different because Tom is he's probably one of the number one mods. Him and Stacy are probably the best mods we have on Whatnot, and so we have someone from a different perspective on the show today. So hopefully we'll get some insight on how they feel about the whole thing as a buyer. So I'm kind of excited about that also. And what else, guys? So let's Tom, introduce
Well, I
yourself.
want Tom to explain why Scott picked Aussie Kiwi for tonight. So, as you're introducing yourself, tell the viewers why this is Aussie Kiwi night too.
Why it's Aussie Kiwi night?
Yeah.
Well, I guess to start things going, I actually was born in California, but raised in Australia. My dad moved down there with us all. He was with IBM, and IBM wanted American IBM workers to come down to Australia to help train the people down there, as IBM was just getting started around the late 50s, early 60s. And what started as a 2-year stint stretched to 10 years in little Avalon, a beach community 20 miles north of Sydney. And it was a great place to grow up. Mom finally got was always homesick, but finally talked my dad into moving back to stateside. And we end up, the Northwest. I finished high school here and then went back to Australia.
So, how many total years have you lived in Australia?
Total 16 years.
Wow.
And you're just going to find my accent probably more, I don't know, people say East Coast. Yeah. And, some words I say, they'll go, oh, is that English?
Every once in a while, primarily I do hear Northeast, but every once in a while I hear a word that's definitely got a little bit of Australian.
I think Jake's English accent is better than mine.
Yeah. So, and we'll set the record straight. Like Gurus too is, like I always say, he's probably the first friend I made on Whatnot because he was hanging out in my Saturday morning show. And I said, well, this guy's going to show up all the time. I'm just going to make him a mod. And he's been very helpful. But our real friendship started, I think we can credit Neil Finn for that. I started talking about how big of a Neil Finn fan I was, and Tom is too. So kind of grew out of that. And we still share back and forth some inside baseball stuff on Australian artists. So that's why I said, well, the first episode Tom's on, we got to do New Zealand and Australian artists. So that's what we're doing tonight. And while we're doing it, and Tom, you're not just the buyer. You don't sell on Whatnot, but you do sell vinyl, right?
Right. Well, we just had a sale on Tuesday night. Myself and a group of other vinyls, guys that have got large collections. We hold, maybe every 2 months, a sale at a local brewery here in town. Okay. And they do very well as far as the thirst for vinyl is alive and well in Spokane, Washington. And we always get a good crowd. We advertise on Facebook, Instagram. Vinyl on Tap is the name.
Nice, yeah. And he's so. I mean, they have really cool artwork for these events. They move it to different breweries in town. So that's really cool what Spokane does there, and I'm sure it's cool to be part of it. I wish we had something like that in my area. That would be kind of cool.
Well, yeah, it always helps to have there's about 5 or 6 of us that are regularly at these, pop-ups. We call them, but they're not true pop-ups because we do advertise and, probably, well in advance, and we can get some real good crowds.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, the other thing, I did get the opportunity to meet Tom in person. He was in town. His wife had a conference in Baltimore, so got to drive over one evening to Baltimore, and we went digging together. And what was that? The Sound Garden? Was that the name of the?
That sounds right. Yeah.
So pretty decent store. We got a few records. So anyway, it's great. And Tom is a good friend, and I'm sure. And if you've been in a room with him, his knowledge of music is pretty good. So thanks for coming on, Tom. We appreciate it.
Yeah,
and
you're welcome. And again, I apologize for the technical difficulties.
No problem.
I have a curiosity because you were in Australia and you said ocean area or whatever. You see many great whites, or ever see them, or is it?
No, mostly around Avalon, we would see gray nurse sharks and bull sharks, and most of the time they would stay clear of any human contact.
All right, I had to ask because I had to ask.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna let you guys. I'm gonna start it off, and I'm gonna head out and watch and go hang with my family, and I'll be back next week. But this is the segment where we show our new arrivals, and I'm very curious to see what you guys have. And I'm gonna sign off, guys. You guys have a great show, and I'll see you next Thursday night. So you guys have fun.
All right, thanks for stopping by, Sean, and condolences to you.
Shaq.
All right,
good seeing you, Sean.
Yeah, good seeing you. Bye.
All right, let's get refigured here. There we go. Okay, so new vinyl. I'll kick it off by saying I didn't get anything this week. I actually got a Dio CD set, and I'm refiling my CD, so it's already filed away some in some box because I'm in the process of reorganizing everything. So
why don't you just go ahead and just send those CDs over to me? I'll take care of them for you.
Well, Jake, they'll be available on a Whatnot CD show soon. Oh,
there's no need for one. No need for one. You've got my address.
I don't know where Tom went.
We have a piper down.
Are we good?
We have a piper down.
We have no camera, Tom, from you.
Tom, I will tell you this, though. When it is a black screen, your voice is sexy.
Thank you. Thank you, Jake. You can see me now?
Let's see. No, we can't.
No, still black.
Can you see me?
No.
Nope.
I can see me. I'm seeing me.
Oh. I accidentally hit him. I was trying to fix it and I hit him.
You booted him.
No, he's there. I just got to...
Yeah, get me back. I'm up there on my screen.
I still hear him.
What's happening? Yeah, I'm still here. I see. They're not seeing me. Here, even though I see me.
Maybe the Shaq got him. He's the man behind the wall.
Yeah, I don't see you.
Well, now he's gone. Well, while we're figuring that out, I'll go ahead and mention.
What'd you get, Jake?
What did I get? That's a phenomenal question, Scotty. Believe it or not, I too was about that damn close to not getting anything, but a couple of records came in. I'm a big Dave Bazan guy. I'm a big Pedro the Lion guy. Got into him in college, but had his CDs. Never had any vinyl, and I happened to be in Wax Arcana show, and I grabbed a few things. So this is Pedro the Lion's first full-length album. It's Hard to Find a Friend.
Who is Pedro the Lion, my friend?
Oh man, he is a great independent artist. He's just one guy that basically kind of plays all of his instruments, but he's just got a great raw sound. There he is.
He's back.
Great.
He had to call technical assistance.
But this was the album that really got me into him. And I know you would probably be like, what are you doing? But this would be an essential album for sure. If anybody's familiar with Pedro the Lion or Dave Bazan, because it is just one man.
Mm-hmm.
So got his first album, and then I got his third album, which is Control, which is just more of a concept record.
What kind of music is it?
It's indie rock.
Mm.
It's kind of how I would put it, but great album. I would tell you, get it on CD and listen to it or stream it, Scotty. The other is Springsteen's Greatest Hits. So I'm not a diehard Bruce fan. I like Bruce, but I'm one of those, if I have his greatest hits, I'm pretty much A-okay with it.
I knew there was something wrong with you.
I do respect him. I think he's a great performer. They're just those that could put on a show and he can still entertain for hours. So I respect the hell out of him for that. But I loved Born in the USA. Like that was my introduction to Bruce Springsteen, right?
Well, that's my favorite album by him too. But
yeah, and as I got older, I went back. I think Nebraska is excellent just because it's so stripped down and it's such a personal record for him, right? But for me, all I need are his greatest hits, and I'm deal.
Yeah.
So those are kind of the three, and I've got a bunch of soundtracks and stuff. I think I showed a lot of them last week, and I think I added a couple of more soundtracks, but not a whole heck of a lot this week. Tom, What about you, baby? What do you got?
What have I got? Anything? I mean, we're talking about new arrivals.
Yeah. What? Yeah. You get anything new in this week?
Yes, I would love to show.
What are we looking at there?
By the Hoodoo Gurus, my namesake.
Yeah,
hey. I finally was able to find it on vinyl, and it's a fantastic album. Well, of course, uninitiated, that you wouldn't know the songs from this album, but a great Hoodoo Gurus album. If you're just getting into them, Stone Age Romeo's their first album is just fantastic. They had second sophomore slump a little bit, but still a great album. This is their fourth album, and just it's just great. I mean, I've been listening to Hoodoo Guru since I was 14 years old. So it's
hence your username, right? That's where your username comes from.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes.
Gurus 2023, because that was the first time I saw the Gurus. Well, not the first time, but the first time in years, because they not really broke up, kind of took a hiatus and did some tours around Australia and New Zealand. They didn't do too much nothing in the US. They finally came back to the US in 2023 and again in 2024. So saw them both times in Seattle, and fantastic shows.
Well, I don't know if it means anything, but Trend concurs. He gave you the Hoodoo Gurus 3 fire.
Right. Yeah. I was trying to think who it was on your stream that got into Gurus, and we've gone back and forth a few times on some of the albums that he picked up along the way.
Yeah.
The other album I got finally, Doughboy Hollow by Died Pretty. This is perhaps the best, one of the best, if not the best album to come out of rock album to come out of Australia in the 1990s. And I don't know if you got a chance to listen to it.
Hold up, Guru. Hold up. You're telling me this is over Silverchair Frog Stomp? Wait, hold up here. What are we doing?
Frog Stomp is fine, but you got to listen to Doughboy Hollow by Died Pretty.
I'm definitely going to give it a listen
and get back to me, because I really couldn't put it as top 500 because you guys haven't even heard it. So I want to hear everyone's view on it and say, okay, does it belong in the top 500 or not?
Let me
But
see
we're
the
going to
record
talk
again,
about
Tom.
this record again later.
Tom, let me see the record again.
And those are my recent finds.
Well,
Show me the record again. Died Pretty, Doughboy, Hollow. Okay, I'm writing that down. Doughboy.
Unable to purchase it here in Australia, I had to get a hold of a record store in Melbourne, and they sent. I talked to them online, and they sent me a copy.
Yeah.
It only came out about probably 2 months ago on vinyl.
Oh, yeah. I bet that was cheap.
Yeah, it was relatively cheap.
Okay. Well, you guys killed me this week. I mean, it's very rare. Like 33 weeks we've been doing this. This is the first week I really don't think I got a vinyl record in. I mean, I got all kinds, but not for my personal collection. But okay. Well, we'll hop into the. We're going to add 9 records tonight to the Essential 500. And Tom, we always let the guests go first because we're polite that way, right, Jake? We're very polite people.
We are extremely polite.
Overly
Always.
Polite, I would say sometimes. You know,
A little bit.
But Tom, you could go first, and you get your first opportunity. I know you're a viewer too because you've commented on the show and stuff. So after all these weeks, Tom gets to add a record to the list. So throw your first one up there.
Okay. Well, my first album of the night.
Uh-oh.
I have no idea why the hell we haven't even brought a Supertramp.
I would
Jake, it was on the index cards.
It was.
Going through the list and not having that album on the list was a crying shame, and
It's
I had
Jake's
to
fault.
rectify that.
Jake's fault.
Just blame it on me. It's okay. I'll take it.
Crime of the Century. People who know. Fantastic album. Came out in 1974 to a relatively lukewarm reception in the beginning. It had to sort of, work its way around the trap, so to speak. Third studio album. It was their commercial breakthrough in many countries, including UK, Canada, Germany, Australia. You couldn't get enough. I mean, Dreamer and School to some degree. Bloody Well Right was the other single that was played. I just remember all the time, and it was just music that I hadn't heard before. It was just so different to what I was listening to around that time. And it was interesting that for some reason I thought that Crime came out before or after Crisis What Crisis. And I don't know why I thought that for so long. And then I found out that no, Crisis came out after that, because when on this album, it was the first album that had it was already Rick Davies and Roger Hodgson. And then they, with Crime of the Century, the 3 other members were the first ones to appear on that album. Bob Seidenberg on drums, saxophonist and clarinet player John Hollywell, and bassist Dougie Thompson. So it was kind of just surprising that it was, it came out when it did, and because Crisis What Crisis just seemed like it was a step back from Crime. But I don't know. I guess it was.
I gotta say, I didn't know that either till you just said it. I always thought Crime and
Crime was
in America was back to back. I didn't know they were.
No, Crime in 74, Crisis What Crisis in 75. This is our Remus, who loves the camera. You gotta get over there. Yeah, it was just surprising that I didn't know that, but I do now. And you notice, and I guess I always did notice on the back there, you've got To Sam. That was a dedication reads to Sam, which is a nickname for Stanley August Masagas. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. He was the Dutch millionaire who bankrolled Supertramp from 69 to 72 because their first two albums didn't do so well. He kind of, jumped ship. He said, you guys, you're on your own now. I'm done bankrolling your studio time and your dismal tours. It was just funny that after all that, they come up with Crime of the Century, and that just again, as time went on, it blew up into the album. It became it has sold 12 million copies worldwide, and I think that is the most current. But again, and you'll attest to this as well. Every time that's on a stream, it always sells. It seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think don't you think it has a reputation of one of the best sounding records out there? Like, I'm a big Breakfast in America fan, but I think Crime sounds beautiful. And I actually have the Mofi because I just love the way that record sounds.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It was just interesting looking at some of the statistics as far as in 78, Crime was ranked 108th in the World Critics List, which recognized the 200 greatest albums of all time. And then in 87, on the same World Critics List, Jeff Edwards, one of the critics involved with, one of many critics involved with that list, ranked Crime of the Century the 10th greatest album of all time. So, again, you could see over time the popularity and people getting familiar with Supertramp, how it became more and more popular. So it's a true test of time type of album.
It's one thing I think with that album, like Breakfast in America, like was so huge. I mean, just huge. When it came out, it was very popular. But over time, I think a lot of insiders, they're big fans of Crime, over Breakfast. And which is kind of surprising. Like if I was going to get somebody in the Supertramp, I probably would definitely give them Breakfast because it's probably a little more accessible, but Crime sounds so beautiful. It's just a great sounding record.
I agreed. And the fact that, how many singles off Breakfast in America, they just played it to they played it over and over. And I just got sick of some of the songs. And it was just nice to go back to Crime and Crisis and even The Quietest Moments and just enjoy those for what they are.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, but again, Breakfast in America, great album, but it just was played so much that I tired of it. But again, it's all great albums. And then, unfortunately to some, I just played so much.
Well, thank you for adding that wonderful record and correcting Jake's oversight. Past few weeks, he could have picked it. He didn't pick it. But he probably, I don't know. Are you a fan of Supertramp, Jake? I don't think we've ever talked about Supertramp.
I like Supertramp, but I didn't get into Supertramp until I was much older. Like to me, like when I was a teenager, I kind of put them up there. Like I love yacht rock now, but like I used to kind of put them in the yacht rock realm for the longest time. And as I got older and like really went back and listened, like all I play at work is yacht rock, number one. And Supertramp's not yacht rock. I kind of thought they were when I was younger, but as the palate has aged, it's like a fine wine. I do enjoy them.
Okay. Well, Jake, what is your first record of the night?
Great album to start off. I figured we'd do something. It's not quite 2000. The album was released in 1999. This record was more or less a departure from their, first couple of albums, which were more alternative rock. Oddly enough, this band opened for Tool when Tool was touring back in the 90s. And when you know who the band is, you would look at it and say it makes zero sense. but I was not at the concert. My brother and best friend were at the concert that night, and this band got booed off the stage, and Maynard James Keenan had to come on and basically say, guys, hey, these guys are our friends. Like, lay off. Like, you keep booing them, we're not going to have a good show. And the band is the Flaming Lips. And the album that we're going to talk about today is the Soft Bulletin, which was released in 1999. This, a lot of people consider the Soft Bulletin not only their basically turn as to what they basically became, more of a very psychedelic, very layered kind of, orchestra, sounding album from their harder rock stuff. But really the album before this is what really kind of slowly turned it, which was Zyreka, which was a concept record. And I don't know if anybody in here is a big Flaming Lips fan, but Zyreka was pretty innovative when it came out because we were still in the age of CDs, and Zyreka was a 6 CD set, and you had to play all 6 CDs simultaneously. That's just Wayne being Wayne, from the Flaming Lips. And I remember when they presented it, he played it in a parking garage and had everybody and the group of people that were there that went in and played it. But that was really the album, I think, that started to turn them to where we are with the Soft Bulletin. And then, of course, after the Soft Bulletin, we have Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots, which is probably my favorite Lips album of all time. But I just think it's such a great record. When it came out, I mean, it was praised, compared to the earlier records. It didn't really sell a whole heck of a lot. It probably sold a few 100,000 copies in the US. I would say worldwide, it probably did a couple of million sales. What I have in my hand is a 1999 US original press. I have had this record since 2001, and I cherish this bad boy. So this is a good little Gonzo Grail to start it off for the night. Little Flaming Lips, Soft Bulletin.
All right.
Couldn't be more different than Tool.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see why those audiences wouldn't blend together very well.
I booed the hell out of them.
Right. Well, it's a shame. But, yeah, I mean, they were there to see Tool and maybe someone similar to Tool. But Flaming Lips, wow.
I'll tell you who did well. The Flaming Lips meshed well with Beck. I saw the Flaming Lips open for Beck. Okay, we saw him at Universal, I think it was Universal Studios in Hollywood. We saw him open up for Beck. And then what was even better, they were Beck's backing band. They played with Beck for his entire set. So you got the trifecta, man. You got the Flaming Lips opening. You've got Beck. You've got the Flaming Lips backing them. But you had all of the confetti, people dressed up in animal outfits. Like, it just, the shows are amazing.
Yeah,
they're fun. Everybody has a blast. So you kind of got 2 shows in one.
Well, I got some comments for you and a couple questions.
That's right, Trin. Their earlier 80s stuff, they were more punkish. But I never really listened to their early stuff, like their 80s stuff. I really got into them with Beck's back. Yes, Beck's backing band. Jeremy, they backed Beck.
Liberation. Well, it's interesting because I actually do have a record by them, Clouds Taste Metallic. Because it's a right of reserve, but it's still sealed. I haven't opened it yet because this has come out.
It's a good record. You would enjoy it. You would like it's there. I wouldn't say it's like a grail to find. They're kind of tough from time to time, but you should find their version of Dark Side of the Moon.
Well, here I did listen to this record today that you added, and I had 2 comments. One good, one bad. The good thing is I hear a more modern band, and I'd be interesting to know, and I'm going to try to research this later, was Vampire Weekend influenced by Flaming Lips? Because to me, the lead singer has a similar voice to the guy from A Vampire Weekend, and how eclectic their song structure is, and all that. I enjoyed it. There was one very annoying, and maybe it's just this album, and this is the only record I've listened to, is the drum sounds like they're playing trash can lids. I mean, it's one of the worst drum sounds I've ever heard on a record, which was really distracting because I like the songs. I like the rest of it. I was like, these drums sound like trash can lids. Maybe they were going for a sound. I don't know.
Look, Wayne is a very unique man, right? The whole band, but they're like, I think they're all geniuses in their own right. You know, I mean, I'm looking at Trent's comment, you know, and he said not their best, but great. I agree. I don't think it's their best. I think it's the album. It's the turning point for the band, which I think gave the Flaming Lips their sound, more or less what they have now, what they're most known for now. Early stuff I never listened to. When Transmissions from a Satellite Heart came out, like in the 90s, I wasn't a big fan of them at first. They grew on me with the soft Bulletin, but by the time I got to Yoshimi Battles of Pink Robots, I think that's their best record.
No,
Trent may agree,
I actually like this record. I was just annoyed, and it wasn't on all songs. There was like 3 songs that I just thought,
yep,
man, it's not an accident. They intended to record those drums that way, and I just found it too tinny and annoying. But I will, first of all, we forgot, because we're having problems with Tom. Tom, to see the chat, there's a button on the right side that says chat. About 3/4 of the way down on the right side. Just click that button and you'll see the chat.
I don't see the chat button.
It's all the way to the right under widgets and above music.
Trent,
I'm afraid
I
to touch
love
anything.
Transmissions. Like, I don't know. Again, I was a child of a teen of the 90s, so I was just really heavy into grunge, and it took me a little bit, you know, but I think by the time I bought Yoshimi Battles of Pink Robots, I went back and got the earlier albums and I fell in love with them. Sometimes, like, timing is everything, right? And I do believe the same with music. You might come across something at first that it just doesn't mesh, right? And then a few years goes by, and then you come across it again and you listen to it and you're like, what the hell was I thinking? Like, this is damn good. And
agreed.
A great band
several times.
Yeah, a great band that I think the Flaming Lips deserve a hell of a lot more credit than they
Canadian
than they
band,
get.
right? Canadian band
From Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City. Oh, okay.
Wayne is. Yeah. I mean, he still lives in Oklahoma.
You're thinking of Arcade Fire, Scott.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, I know they're from Canada.
Yeah. Or maybe I'm confusing him with the Tragically Hip or something like that.
Tragically Hip.
Yeah.
Another great underrated band in US.
Yeah.
Highly underrated.
Yes.
All
Highly.
Right. So I'm going to add, we'll just call this another index card ad tonight. So if you guys don't get that, it's a joke. I had written out like 5 index cards of records that we're not on the list yet that we all need to consider. So one day we'll publish that chat thread on Discord, because it was pretty funny.
Jake won't read it. I just did.
All right, so I'm adding Achtung Baby. And this is my favorite U2 record. And nothing against Joshua Tree, but something about it. Think about it. When bands go to Berlin, there's a certain urban grittiness or avant-garde or something comes out of them, like that happened to Bowie and Lou Reed. And I could be mistaken, but I think when Bowie was working with Iggy Pop, there was a Berlin record there too. But this one was definitely a little change of pace. It was actually a precursor to where they would go. They even took that further later on. And by the time they got to Zooropa, I wasn't the biggest fan of that. But the small influences you heard on this record definitely had me intrigued. And just absolutely terrific songs on here. You got the big ballad one. Love the sound of Mysterious Ways. Such a cool groove they get in that song. Even better than the Real Thing. Who's Gonna Ride Your Wild Horses? The Fly was the lead single. That was a weird choice when you had all these songs on the record and you picked The Fly. I think it was they picked it to set the tone, because some of the other songs do sound like The Fly, and they would very much sound like that in a couple of records. Pretty much Zooropa is all that. Zooropa and Pop had more of that, but this is like a blend from their Joshua Tree period into something new. I just love this record, and I think a lot of people do, because it sold 18 to 20 million worldwide. Certainly cemented them as for a number of years, you could say they were the top band in the world. So I really liked it. The critics liked it because they brought a little more pizzazz maybe to their sound than they had. But kudos to them, because they were really struggling too, and it took them a long time to. They were getting frustrated making this album, and they just started being more experimental. And of course, they had the great Daniel Lanois producing, along with Brian Eno, and Flood was engineering. So they had 3 production masterminds working on this record. And of course, Edge is a silent producer himself. He's very much into how things sound and all that, trying to come up with sounds. But a brilliant album. Tom, do you like this record? A lot of people.
I do.
On
yeah.
YouTube
In
lately.
fact, when I saw U2 at the Sphere, and they played Achtung Baby in its entirety.
Oh, wow.
Along with other hits. But yeah, I do love that album. Compared to, I also love Joshua Tree, and there's another one that name escapes me now.
Rattle and Hum.
Yeah, I do like that one. Unforgettable Fire.
Yeah. That one took that takes multiple listens to get into it, because it was a little different. Other than New Year's Day, which was traditional U2, but the real beauty on that album is Bad. Bad is one of the best U2 songs.
Yeah.
Great. And, Trent was talking about the B-side sounding good. My favorite version of Who's Gonna Ride Your Wild Horses is actually one of the mixes they did on the extended single. I think it actually is more powerful sounding. So on my digital playlist, that's the version that goes on there, because I like it better than the album version. But yeah, U2 had a lot of good B stuff on a lot of their records. So good point. So I think it's the 3rd U2 album. I think Rattle and Hum is on there, and I think Rattle and Hum and Joshua Tree are already on there. So Achtung Baby definitely deserved it. I was actually in Germany when this record came out. I was stationed over there, and loved it from the first time I heard it.
So. Apropos with the name of the album.
Yes. All right, Tom, we're back to you for pick number 2.
Back to me. What have we got? Okay, well, just one that it didn't sell crap. 110,000 units sold in worldwide, probably mostly in Florida, for good reason. But the first time I heard this album, it was just I just said, "Wow, what is this? Who is this? And where they come from?" But without further ado, J.J. Gray and Mofro, Country Ghetto. Just, if you haven't heard this album, listen to it. Hear it. Seriously. Did you get a chance to hear it, Scott?
I did. And I was like, 3 songs in, I was like, Tom is a genius. This record, the first 3 songs, it gets a little weaker as the album goes on. Yeah. But the first 3, I was like, this is killer. Like, it's blues rock, with a soul singer. Like the guy has a soul voice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of those blues guys, vocals aren't their primary thing. This guy could sing soul covers and sound great. So yeah, it was blowing me away. I put it on and I was, doing stuff, getting ready. And I was like, I kept coming over. What song is this? Man, that's a good song.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Yeah. It just grew on me. Like you said, the first three, just wow. And then as time went on, listening to the whole album just over and over again, I said, what a great, and every, when I do play this for friends, they say, hey, where can I get a copy of this? So I've converted a number of people over to JJ Grey, because the album after this, Orange Blossoms, another killer. You've got to have a listen to that one.
I know Joe Williamson, officially it's probably not classified. When I looked him up, they don't classify him as blues, but I hear mainly blues licks in the songs. I was wondering if Joe Williamson knows who he is.
I'm thinking Joe has heard of him.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that I've been on one of his streams and I've asked him about it at some point. But yeah, here it says, Southern rock mixed in with blue-eyed soul, funk rock, blues rock, swamp rock.
Yeah.
Anyway, Country Ghetto is the third album from the band, released on the band's new label, Alligator Records. The Gadsden flag is represented on the cover with the words, "Don't tread on me," on the back. Several critics have lauded this album for years. Again, it came out February 2007. He states that the band revisits the hallowed but largely forsaken musical environments of swamp rock, taking their cues from early Creedence and Tony Joe White. Mofro play a slinky, sinuous brand of Louisiana soul funk blues, while Grey himself alternates between the good old boy debauchery of Ronnie Van Zant and Leonard Skinner. It goes on to state that that Country Ghetto is a down and dirty delight and a fine addition to the swamp rock canon. And then this one critic, he just kind of kills me, but he was saying Country Ghetto feels like everything that is the blues, but while mostly sounding nothing like it. so take your pick. Just sort of listen to it and come to your own conclusions.
Yeah, it's funny because I read the description before I read it, and when I was listening, I heard blues and blue-eyed soul mixed together, and that first song, "War," I was like, how was this song not a hit? It is a great song.
I know, exactly. But again, I think in certain parts of the South, JJ Grey was played on radio, but up here. Even where you live, I wasn't sure whether or not you had heard that. It came, coming out almost 20 years ago.
No, when you guys send in an album I never heard, the first thing I do is go listen to it and say, let me see if these people are full of crap or not. But you passed the test. Jake usually passes the test too, and I give him a really hard time.
I wish Jake had a chance to listen to it, but.
Jake,
they always bless my ass.
You ought to. I think you'd like it if you like blues, man. It's a good record. I did that when you said New Orleans funk soul. I was like, okay, yeah, I hear a little bit of that too, a little bit of that influence. So no, it's a fun record, and we said we're not saying that we're doing the 500 best records. We're doing 500 essential. Like if you were going to give somebody. A list of 500 records and they were just like, oh, I'm into music, but I don't know anything about music. Here you go listen to these. You're going to find stuff you love, and you're going to probably find stuff you hate, because there's a pretty broad spectrum that we've put on the list. Blues, and we got some hip hop, and we got a lot of rock, but we come from a rock background, so we're going to have a little bit of bias there.
Right. Yeah. Going over the list, it's a great variation of albums you got out there.
All right. Well, thanks for exposing me. So I immediately went to Discogs and put put those in my want list so I can track to try to find those records. Definitely going to be up my alley. All right, Jake, opportunity number 2 tonight.
So this is one of those albums that, like, we probably should have mentioned shows ago. So I'll be kind of quick on it because I know that Scott is not a very big prog guy, and this is an album that needs to be mentioned because it was I would say 80s Yes was really my introduction to Yes.
90125.
Yes,
Yeah.
but and Big Generator. But before that, my dad, who was, huge diehard Beatles fan, and my dad, I wouldn't say my dad was a music buff, but my dad listened to music. And I'd like to think the old man had good taste, but he saw me, he came downstairs one time, and I lived on the TV, that big old wooden crappy TV that we had in that wooden shelf of a shelf.
Did you have to get up to change the channel?
Well, I had to use, you had to do that. We didn't have a remote, and it would fuzz out, so I'd have to get a pull stick to hit the top of it so it would unfuzz.
The kids today, they got it made, don't they?
Jake, get on the roof.
Oh,
get
my
on
God.
the roof.
Oh, it was horrible. But I grew up on that damn TV, and my dad always knew where I was because I was always downstairs watching MTV. And he came down and he went, Jake, and he came down right at the end of the video. So he saw the credits and he saw Yes, right? And he goes, Jake, well, if you like Yes, then you're really going to like a record called Fragile. And you're really going to love a song called Roundabout.
Yeah.
So he didn't have the record, but he took me to the record store and he went and he got a tape and we played it in his car. And that was a really cool thing for, the old man to do. This actually is the first album that features Rick Wakeman. And I did not know this, but Tony Kaye, I thought he left the band. He was fired from the band during the rehearsal process of this record because apparently he was very into his electric piano and his organ, right? But he did not really like the sounds of the time, which would have been the Moogs. And I think Chris Squire and company just didn't like the fact that he was very reluctant to change. And I guess there was a lot of infighting. So he was sacked. And then in comes Rick Wakeman, which he alone, right, has just a sound. When you hear a Yes record, right, when you listen to this album, he's all over it. He's all over it. Just like when I presented Chris Squire's Fish Out of Water. When you listen to that solo record, Chris Squire's, he's all over it. When you go back and you listen to a Yes album, you're like, wow, you can really feel his presence. No one's ever going to sing like Ian Anderson.
I'm sorry, Jake. Who came before Rick Wakeman? Who was
Tony Kaye was their keyboardist, their first their first 3 albums. This being the 4th, which was Rick's first record in. I had to get an audiophile copy of this just because one thing I go back to all the time is I go back to Yes's induction to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I am blown away by how good Ian Anderson can still sing. Not only then when they were inducted, and they did Roundabout, and Geddy Lee was slapping the bass.
Okay, think about it. You just misspoke there. I know you know.
What?
Not Ian Anderson.
What? Oh,
you said,
I'm sorry. I'm not. John Anderson.
I know you know because we've talked about Yes and Jethro Tull many times.
John Anderson. Yeah. John Anderson. Ian can play the flute. He can't sing anymore. John can still sing.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
He does still sound good.
He does. And I just recently, Mr. Anderson, I just recently got John Anderson and the band Geeks. That record, if y'all haven't heard it, y'all need to listen to it because John Anderson's 185 years old and the man can still sing. He's probably still got one of the best voices. But anyways, going back to Roundabout, it was released in 1972. It sold several million copies worldwide. I think really this is the record, even though the Yes album kind of, I think, really brought a little success to them. I feel like this record is what really kind of brought them a little more mainstream. And this is the first album cover. If y'all kind of notice a lot of their later albums, right? A lot of the artwork's very familiar. This is the first designed by Roger Dean. He's the guy that did a lot of their album covers, and I have always liked them. But yeah, John Anderson and Company. Would be great if Ian just came in and played a little flute with Yes. Though.
It'd go right with the Yes sound. I mean, well, I will. You're right. I think everybody knows I'm not the biggest fan of prog, but I will say I do have that same album you held up, the Analog Productions. I have the Japanese and I have USOG. So I do like that record. That's a good record.
I've always felt that Fragile was really like a true introduction. Like when I think of prog music, and a lot of people who are like all prog, like Rush Records, Chris would probably have a bit of an opinion on it because there are prog bands that were around prior to Yes, but I felt that Yes really kind of brought prog into the mainstream. I've never considered Pink Floyd prog.
No, they're more.
They've never been a prog band to me. They're more, psyched to start, but I still, even though they're put in the prog category because their songs are, their songs were long. And I think that's any band that would be prog was because you had a song that was longer than 5 minutes, right? But Yes, to me, this record was really in its truest sense, really like the introduction to, I think, prog as we know it.
Well, I think it brought this record, and I'm probably in this crowd. It brought prog to the masses. Like
agreed.
It was in. I mean, it was still long form songs, and there was a lot of long keyboard solos and all that, which I'm not a big fan of that. And that's what Pink Floyd doesn't have. Thank God.
Yeah.
They have long guitar solos, which I'm more of a fan of that.
Absolutely.
But I've always liked the record, and I don't count 90125 as a prog record. That's a
80s
rock
pop
record.
Right,
yeah,
that is an 80s
a commercial album through and through.
Yeah, if you listen to that and Big Generator, to me it's a part 1 and 2. They're very, similar
bookends
records.
Yeah.
And that's I think that's Trevor Rabin's
100%
influence on 90125. But I like that, and I don't know why I like that album, but like I liked it enough to buy an audiophile version of it. I do like it. I think to me it's the best of all the prog albums. It's my.
Well, I would tell you, I would say Fragile. I would say Close to the Edge. I would say those two records back to back. To me, I think are great records. I got a little lost in some of the later 70s stuff, but they've still got good stuff, throughout.
Tomato never grabbed me.
Same.
Oh, that was but that was that's probably the worst record.
Yeah.
But I had some guy buy that on my stream one time because I don't really like it, but I have all the other I got to get it. I was like, wow, you're going to buy a Japanese press of a record you don't like. Okay. I'll sell it to you.
Just remember, Scott, I do have Trans and Everybody's Rockin'.
Where'd you get those from, Jake?
Those were gifts. Trans and Everybody's Rockin' are probably, and Landing on Water, which I don't have, are probably the 3 Neil Young records that no one will have except myself. Why? I'm a completist. You have to have the bad with the good.
This note's for you.
Yeah, I have all the Neil Young records. I used to, and now I don't have those all two because Jake told me, "Oh, I got to get those." He told me he was looking for it. I was like, "Why are you looking for those?
You can't find them anymore.
They're horrible." And I said,
"They're horrible.
Don't go buy them. I will send them to you for free. I hate them."
I will give them to you, and it's great because they're super clean as always. And I will put it on, and I will brave through it, man. I will go through that. But again, look, and there's a reason, right? Records that I thought were horrible when I was a teenager and went back and listened to in my 20s or even 30s. I went back and I got something out of it. So it's the same with the crappy records.
Yeah,
Go back and listen to the stuff.
I did that to The Elder. Like I was just crushing that record on the stream when somebody. I said, you know what? I'm gonna go back and listen to it because I said it's a full blown turd. You know, and I went back and listened to it. I said, no, it's only half a turd. I mean, it's not as bad as I thought it was.
Right.
All right. Well, good pick, Jake.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. You know,
All right.
They've got some great stuff.
So I don't think I'm revealing too much here. I think people know this that watch the stream, but I am a huge Lana Del Rey fan. And to the point, I run a Rune server, so I rip everything in high quality, DSD, and down to CD quality. But one thing I love about Rune, it keeps track of the artist, how many hours you've listened to. And the most listened to artist by 4 hours on my Rune server is Lana Del Rey. I've listened to Lana Del Rey for 28 hours. I've been running the Rune server for 3 years. So I do love me some Lana Del Rey. And I guess when people pick their, I guess you call her pop, but, alternative pop maybe, because I think she's a little different. This is the record, her debut record. Well, not really her debut, but her debut as Lana Del Rey, not Lizzie Grant, which was she was more pop. And it's interesting going back and listening to this week. And I actually played my favorite Lana Del Rey, which I put on the list before, is Nelson effing Rockwell. And I was playing them back to back, and I realized on this one, she has a different vocal delivery. She still has that husk in her voice, but she doesn't have the whispering that she does now, which I find amazing. I don't know how she sings so soft, and to me, that puts a little more emotion to her more modern stuff. But you can't deny the quality songs on this record. Born to Die, Blue Jeans, Video Games, Summertime Sadness is on this. I love the non-single Diet Mountain Dew, National Anthem. I think that was a single off of it, but it's just chock full of good songs. And, when I listened to this record this week, I was really like, she is mimicking the vocal delivery of Lady Gaga on this record. Go back and listen to it, and then listen to a Lady Gaga, one of like Born This Way or something like that. She is kind of definitely, I think, was influenced. Now she's got a little, if you listen to Nelson, it's more breathy, and a song like Blue Banisters off of the Chemtrails album, where she is almost whispering the song. It just adds a little more emotion when she sings like that. So anyway, this is really worthy. 10 million copies sold worldwide. She really took off. She had a little bit of a misstep on Saturday Night Live. That was, when you go on Saturday Night Live as a new artist, that's supposed to be your big thing. And her vocals really didn't sound that good, and people really bagged on her for quite a while. And but she's more than recovered. And I would say, she's not out there competing with Taylor Swift and Olivia Rodrigo, but she has carved out a very faithful base of audience, and pretty much guarantee every record she releases is going to reach platinum status, because the people that like her really like her.
I'm just going to start holding my mic like this now.
That's really ingenious, Jake.
For whatever reason, the mic just decided to want to just come undone and fall apart. I think this is really, you can really do a lot and go places just holding this thing.
That's like it's like a selfie stick for a microphone.
It kind of is. What do you think?
It's ingenious, man.
Can't beat it. You want to know something crazy?
This episode is doomed, I'm telling you.
I have never owned that record.
I see you sell it. You sold it before. You sold it.
I never opened it. I had them, but I never played it.
It's a good record. It is a good record.
Oh, I've listened to it. I just had it, sold it.
Yeah, Sean says you always wanted to be in show business, Jake. Now you're the boom guy.
The best boy.
I would be the boom guy that would have the boom in camera.
hit the actor on the head.
Pretty much.
Okay. All right. I know it's tough to follow up Lana Del Rey, the legend that she is. But what you got for us, Tom?
All righty. Let's have a look. Number 3. It's going to come out. Lemonheads. It's a shame about Ray.
Hey, you go, bro.
I just absolutely love this album from the get-go. And it's only, about 30 minutes long in total. 5th album by the Lemonheads, released on June 2nd, 92, produced by the Robb Brothers. The initial album was 29 minutes 46 seconds, and then the re-release was 33 minutes and 28 seconds. That was because they added a certain song to it after it wasn't originally on the album, but the band's cover of Simon and Garfunkel's Mrs. Robinson was added to the album in later pressings after it had become a worldwide hit. Now, I know I didn't have any Australian albums on my top 3 here, but there is some connection to Australia with this album. The title track was supposedly inspired by a quote that the band leader Evan Dando had seen in a Sydney newspaper back in November of 91. The newspaper article was about a 15-year-old boy out of Nowra, Australia, which is about 2 hours south of Sydney. He had left the small town, semi-small town of Nowra, and moved to Sydney, where he was homeless and considering working as a prostitute, which I hope didn't eventuate, but we don't know more than that as far as that story goes. The other story, which wasn't neither confirmed or denied, was that it may have been a story about a radio DJ named Ray who'd been with the station for years, and when the station was bought out by a conglomerate, Ray was kicked to the curb, and people saying, "Oh, it's a shame about Ray." So those are 2 stories. I kind of like the one from Sydney, but anyway, the album became an international hit for the band, reaching number 31 in the UK, number 5 on the modern rock tracks here in the US. Again, after initial release, the album was reissued with a cover song of Mrs. Robinson, written by Paul Simon. The Lemonheads version was recorded to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the film The Graduate, where Mrs. Robinson was, on that soundtrack and predominantly in the film. Again, Cat wants to get in the action.
He agrees. He concurs.
First hearing the album was just, it was. I knew who they were, but just listening to it over and over again, because the fact that it just stayed in my CD player for so long that I just fell in love with it. And it again, a very quick album, 30 minutes in length, but just some good pop rock it
is good, and when you put it on the list, I was like, oh, I have that on CD, and I went and looked. I don't have it on CD. I was like, okay, that goes on the what list? I know that record. I like that record. I don't know why I at least didn't have it on CD, but that's another good addition. And like you said, just great pop rock.
Yeah. Just really kind of grabs you. It was interesting about one of the songs. My drug buddy was later shortened down to just Buddy, but was later restored back to My Drug Buddy. One interesting thing with Rhino, the album was reissued by Rhino in 2008 as a collector's edition that included several demo versions of album tracks, and a DVD containing the previously released 2 weeks in Australia. So the Lemonheads did quite a bit of touring in Australia, which I wasn't aware because I'd already left Australia. But they toured Australia in the late 2010, playing the album Ray in its entirety, along with songs from other albums. And they toured again in 2025, with the tour being advertised as the band performing both It's a Shame About Ray and Come On Feel the Lemonheads in their entirety. So definitely Australia has a love affair with Lemonheads. They love coming out there and touring. And I know Evan Dando is a big fan of a lot of Australian artists as well. But that's my my third pick.
Nice pick. Nice one. Like I said, it's a record I totally forgot about till I saw it on your list. I was like, oh, yeah. That's
Heck of a pick.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Tom. Jake, what you got for us?
Well, we mentioned these guys earlier, so I just say it's fate that this album's to be mentioned. One of my favorite records of all time. Although I will say their later album that I first listened to is called Day for Night. And this band is Canada's Darlings, which is the Tragically Hip Road Apples, which is their second studio album that came out in 1991. Guys, I want to read the track list to this album, because the first track that opens this record up is one of my favorite all-time hip songs, and that's Little Bones. But I want to read to you, when we talk about amazing albums that like are definitely essential, if not more. If you've got a record that has got 6 to 8 solid songs on it, it's probably an all-time classic. For those of you that are familiar with the hip, let me just read to you the first several songs, shall we? Little Bones, Twist My Arm, Cordelia, The Luxury, Born in the Water, Long Time Running. That's 6 songs in. One of my favorite all-time songs, which is like song 11, is Fiddler's Green. Their first couple of albums, it was a very country rockish kind of feel. And I'm going to tell you something. These guys are so underrated. They should be up there and loved the way that Rush is respected and loved. People in Canada look at them as gods, right? When you've got a lyricist and a frontman with the energy, God rest his soul, Mr. Gord Downie, probably one of the best frontmen ever in all of music. Like, he was that good. He was that much of a genius. But also, people don't think about how good Bob Baker, he's the lead guitarist. His riffs are unbelievable. And then you've got Gord Sinclair, who is also one hell of a bassist at that. Like, these guys, the entire band, unbelievable. And I felt that the hip has never gotten enough love. I will tell you this. I love Dan Aykroyd because Dan Aykroyd brought them on SNL. And this was in 94, I believe, when he brought them in. And that was during Day for Night, which is probably one of my favorite hip records. It was a departure from their earlier stuff. But if there were 2 records that I wanted you to listen to, I'll definitely tell you this, right? You're gonna listen to Up to Here, which was their first album. And then you're gonna listen to Road Apples, their second. But you have to, Fully Completely is their third, and then we go into Day for Night. But I would say these are the 2 records. If you ask me, Jake, I want to get into the Tragically Hip. What record should I listen to where I think I'm going to get the most bang for the buck, get the value, get song after song thrown in my face? It's going to be Road Apples here. Fully Completely is still solid. Mm-hmm. And I would probably tell you Day for Night. 3 records that need to be in your collection. I am still trying to get from records from the 6. My Canadian brother from another mother, he has an original press of Day for Night, and gosh, I wish he would sell it to me because they are impossible to find.
Sure are.
If you haven't watched the documentary, pretty much following Gord Downey before he, like, during his cancer diagnosis and the last tour that they did, he was touring still, literally while he was dying. He was terminal, and he still pressed on, and they still went and did the show. It was a very emotional thing to watch. But
Yeah.
gosh, man, you have to watch it. You have to get this record.
No,
I've been a
great-
huge Hip fan since
Great band.
1997.
Yeah, I've seen him about 4 times live.
Oh God, I envy you.
Just phenomenal. I mean, he reminds me of Peter Garrett from Oils on stage. He is so animated, and he just has the audience in his hands the whole time.
He is the essence of a front man. Like he could do it all, right? In baseball they say, hey, this guy's a 5-tool player. Gord was like a 5-tool front man. He could do everything.
Yeah. No, great band, and rest in peace, Gordy, for sure.
Yeah, that is a good record. I do have that. I do have several Tragically Hip on CD.
First 4 or 5 records, you're not going to miss.
You can't go wrong. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Phantom Power and fun.
Which Phantom Power I have?
Henhouse, another good one. Yeah.
Another good one. Like even their later stuff has got some amazing tracks on it. They were always evolving, always doing new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jake, you were real solid this week. I didn't even give you crap when you sent your picks in this week.
You didn't say anything.
I said okay.
I just sent them, and you went okay.
Well,
that was it.
You would know you wouldn't have got the okay if it wasn't okay.
There was no vomit. Last week's pick, there was just projectile vomiting.
Sometimes. All right. Well, I'm down to my last pick of the night. And, some of these, like when we started out, I was like, well, I want to put this record on there, this record on there. But some of them are, let's say, mostly unknown to the U.S. audience. So I thought, well, I can't load it up. So I've been saving this record, and this is one of my favorite records. And there's 2 versions of it. And how did I get exposed to Mr. Chris Ray? It's because I was stationed in Germany. And when this album came out in 1989.
I have no clue who that
You're
is.
a fool if you think it's over.
All right, hold that thought. That would be the song Americans would know, because that's the only hit he had. It was a top 20 hit for him in America. But I was there was this great thing once a month. The stores in Germany on Saturday, and it's probably open all the time now, they would have extended hours. They called it Long Saturday, once a month, first Saturday of the month. So you could go down there. I would leave the concern, hop on the train, go down to Stuttgart, and just hit the record stores. And it was like, I loved Long Saturday. And I was in there one time, and they were playing this Chris Ray record, and they had it up on the wall like top 10 sellers. It was number 1. I was like, I've never even heard of this guy.
He's huge in Europe.
He is huge. And after that, I dug into his back catalog, and some of the earlier stuff I didn't like as much. But as he got more into the blues rock era, and it was kind of topped off with this Road to Hell. In Europe, this is considered a masterpiece. And it's kind of a semi-concept record. But I would suggest, if you're going to go out and buy it, get the U.S. version, though.
In Europe, it's huge. So that's up there with Hasselhoff.
Well, I don't know. There's no explaining Hasselhoff.
Good point, Jake.
This guy is a serious. Well, first of all, he's got an amazing baritone voice.
I know the song you're talking about.
What, full? No, you would know none of the songs on here. Okay. The only other single, they tried to break him, and they tried with Full, a Fool If You Think It's Over in 78. That was a top 20 hit, kind of a yacht rocky song. And then they tried again on his greatest hits, which was right before this record. There was a song called Working on It. It was on rock radio, but I don't think it got much traction. But this record, who should listen to this? If you are a fan of Mark Knopfler, you should listen to this record, because this guy is a finger picking blues based guitarist he's an amazing guitarist. That's all he ever wanted to be, was a guitarist. But then, they got a load of his voice and said, "Oh no, you got to be the singer." And so he's always been solo. He actually passed away a couple years ago, but he was sick for a long time. But this record, there's a song on here called "Your Warm and Tender Love," and it gives me chills every time I hear him sing it. And it's really his voice that shines on that. But the reason I said get the U.S. version, there's a song on the U.S. version called "Let's Dance," which was on an earlier record, but when they did the U.S. version, they must have said, "Oh, this song might get some traction in the U.S." It did not. It sold. But this record has sold 2 million copies. So it's
in Europe,
in the UK and Germany is where he's mainly popular. But I mean, people who know music, they know who Chris Ray is, and once you stumble onto him, you'll be a fan. He's got like 4 or 5 records in a row that are just not as good as this, and this is why I'm putting this one on the essential, because if anybody has a On the Beach, On the Beach was a good record. But it is that On the Beach is more jazzy. I like when he's more blues rock, and he's more blues rock on this.
There's one On the Beach album that surpasses that On the Beach. And that's Neil Young's On the Beach.
I'm going to bet that Chris Ray's On the Beach outsold Neil Young's On the Beach in Europe. On the Beach was
it's Hasselhoff.
It's not Hasselhoff. You don't even. Did you listen to Chris Ray?
I've never heard of Chris Ray.
Oh, so when the album picks went in, you didn't look to see what I picked and went out and listened to it?
Have a listen to "Fool If You Think It's Over." You might remember it from your. Who knows?
Well, that's what I asked. Like
it has to be on. It has to be on your Yacht Rock. It's had to come up on your Yacht Rock.
Definitely a classic streaming. Yacht Rock song.
Yeah.
Because at work, that's it. As soon as I walk into my lobby, it is Alexa, play Yacht Rock. And
he kind of in the 2000s. He kind of rebelled against the record companies, and he just put out like 3 blues albums, blues covers, because that's really he loved the blues. Robert Johnson and that stuff, that was his love. But I'm telling you, if you want to discover somebody new and you like Dire Straits, if you like Dire Straits, you'll like that. This album. Very, very Mark Knopfler-y guitar sound on it. All right.
I'll definitely give it a listen.
That's our picks for the night. Good job, everybody. All right, Tom, we got to get that other stack of records.
Yes. And excuse me for a second while I grab one other.
All right. So
Chris Ray.
We're going to talk about, and we're going to alternate here. So we're going to talk about Australian and New Zealand bands, focus bands. We'll stay in that part of the world. I'll let Tom get back. He's grabbing a record. I'm going to quiz Jake. Jake, what is the most popular band to probably ever come out of Australia?
I'm back.
Australia?
Yeah. By a wide margin.
Hold up. Trick question. Band or solo artist?
Band.
Biggest selling? Probably AC/DC.
And that's the first one. So we had to get an AC/DC record in here. So let's just go with Back in Black. We'll get that out of the way. I mean, I love this record, but it's kind of obvious. But you can't do a top 10 Australia, New Zealand and not have AC/DC on there, because they are the best-selling artist of all worldwide of all time coming out of Australia. So Back in Black.
Well, the other one I was about to mention was I was going to say, okay, so is a close second Olivia Newton-John.
Probably. Probably.
Because I was about to go Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah.
She's got to be
sold
up
a
there.
lot.
She sold a lot. She still sells.
Yep.
All right. What's your first record, Tom?
Tucker, I bet it's close. I bet it's closer than you think, baby.
For me,
Yeah. What one
Well,
you
I-
want to show?
I've got to go with
Oh, we see it again.
Died Pretty comes back.
yes. Yeah, it's just even though you guys haven't heard the album yet, it needs to be up there because it really is a great album.
So do you have a listening comp to that? Like if people like this, they're going to like that?
Well, yeah, I was thinking about that and trying to think if Pearl Jam and Nick Cave had a baby, it might be died.
That definitely would be a bastard.
Maybe with a little Interpol mixed in there, if you're familiar with Interpol.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you listen to this guy's voice, and definitely conjures up Nick Cave.
Yeah.
And the band, yeah, but again, I was just trying to think, yeah, if someone asked me who do they sound like? Well, they sound like they really are quite unique, but I think you just have to listen to the album.
Yeah, Nick
But
Cave.
it's-
I love Nick Cave. Boatman's Call. I love that record. So,
Which one?
Boatman's Call.
Oh yeah,
Love
yeah,
that record.
yeah.
All right. So number 2, I'm going to put the more obvious ones to the front. I mean, I don't think there's any big surprises. Maybe one in my stack. I don't have anything like Tom has. Of course, this record has to be on there. I mean, yes, I do officially have 8 copies.
76.
8 copies. This is sealed, Jake. Like, you believe that? I have not opened it. This is a sealed US
You don't
OG.
need to when you have 76.
Yeah. And Johnny heard me talking, and Johnny is mailing me a EU original for I'm gonna do a shootout of In Excess to include the SACD. So,
I think what you need to do now is I think you need to get the Philippines press, the Brazilian press, the Colombian press, the Guam pressing, the Antarctica press, which I heard is extremely rare. You have to get every press.
nah, I don't need every press. What I did want to collect is in any press that somebody could claim this is the best press of this record. So I figure if I got the EU, I got the US OGs, and then I've got all the audiophile versions, and just for giggles, I'm throwing in the regular, which would be straight digital, 75th Atlantic Crystal Clear series they did. That's going to be from a digital file. But I want to know, how close does it come to the best sounding ones? So look for that. I am going to do, Devo's going to help me. I forgot, we should have talked about that in the intro. It was a kind of a good week for Whatnot people to get together. I went to a concert on Tuesday night with Devo. We went to see, it was an 80s flashback, Soft Cell, Alison Moyet, and Human League. We were jamming. It was fun. But during that, we had how we're going to do the NXS shootout. He said he'd come out here, and I'm going to do my own shootout, and I'm going to know which record I'm playing. But he's going to do a blind listening test, and I'm going to play the samples for him, and he's going to give me his thoughts. So that should be
That'll
fun.
be interesting.
Yeah, and we're not going to film us doing it, but we're going to film a video together of the results of that. So.
To answer Tucker's question, Tucker, AC/DC has sold over 200 million records worldwide. Surprisingly, Olivia Newton-John did 250 million.
Really?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
She did 100. She did 100 million. I just wanted Tucker to freak out for like 2 seconds.
100 million. There's not
But
too many.
It's closer than I thought.
Not
closer
too
than I
many
thought.
people have. Not too many artists have sold 100 million records. So
Closer than I thought.
yeah, it's all
I
those
bet
Grease.
Tucker
It's
for
all
2
it's all those
seconds.
Grease soundtracks out there.
I would bulk of, but I mean, if you think, oh gosh, what one of the sexiest album covers is her in her workout attire in Physical.
Oh, her greatest hits volume 1 has to be like a multi-million selling
That
thing.
Totally Hot
two-
album is pretty hot.
Yeah, for 2 seconds, Tucker probably believed me and freaked out, just like a nanosecond. He was like, "Ah!"
No, he probably considered the source. You had me fooled, but he probably considered the source.
I just thought it was a little too high, but I was just playing along with Jake.
Well, Jake rounded up.
Easily.
All right,
150 mil.
So what's your second record there?
Second record. I'm trying to decide here which one.
Yeah, dude.
Most people would go with Starfish by this band because it had Under the Milky Way.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to go
The Church. Come on, let's
with
go.
Heyday. Heyday is much more cohesive album than Starfish, in my opinion, and it just totally rocks. It's a great album. I couldn't believe it did well in Australia, but when Starfish came out and did so well, I'm going, are you kidding me? Heyday is a great album, and I did, just it's the way it goes. That you don't know what's going to be a big hit and what's not. But on tour, as far as Already Yesterday, Columbus, Tantalized, and The View, those songs are always on their set lists when they do. And I was sorry I missed the Church last go around. This time when they toured, they did all the singles. So
Steve Kilby, another singer, songwriter, and bassist that doesn't get the love he deserves. Great band.
Did they have another U.S. hit besides Under the Milky Way?
Not really.
Crocodile was a hit. Metropolis, or Reptile. Thank you.
Yeah, Metropolis.
Reptile. Metropolis was what got me into the Church. And when I was a kid, I didn't even know Under the Milky Way was the Church until like way later. But Metropolis,
that was
is what
off
I
Gold
love.
Fix Afternoon. Metropolis,
which I have.
Another great
album.
Yeah, but I have to go with Heyday by the Church, because if you haven't heard it, listen to it. Yeah, I just again, just a great album. Love it. Been listening to it for years. The Church for years, and I've got too many albums of theirs to. They've got, I mean their discography, they must have close to 20 albums.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think some people, they probably think, oh, they were a one-hit wonder and just disappeared.
Right.
No, they're still making music.
Yeah.
They're still making. Yeah.
All right. Good pick. And okay, I'm gonna pick the first one from
Gurus. What do you think of Aura? Did you like that album when it came out?
Yeah, it grew on me. I did. I liked it, but I didn't like it as much as I do now. A lot of those albums by them, I have to listen to it, and then I go back to it, and I see more into it.
Yeah, I had Pre-Store. I had that record. It was a music on vinyl, and I loved it. And I think that came out, in the early '90s, but it was different. But I love the fact that you brought them up. I think they're also a hidden gem that people don't talk about enough.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're kind of mid segment here, so we're gonna get a little bit of our Neil Finn love out here, and I'll do one, and then I know Guru's had one. I got to go with this. You guys have heard me talk about this record.
It's a great album.
This is one of the most spectacular debuts.
Yeah,
ever.
Paul Hester, right there. Rest in peace.
Yeah,
he had his issues, but what a phenomenal drummer and a great album.
Yeah, I mean, I at the time, I think when I put this record in, I said I was not listening to this kind of music. and I heard Dream It's Over, and it was just unique enough to really pique my interest, and especially the harmonies and Neil Finn's voice. I didn't really know who Crowded House was or Neil Finn. I had heard some Split Enz songs that Neil Finn sang. I didn't know that was Neil Finn. I didn't know he was from Split Enz till after I got into him. But I think that Don't Dream It's Over is maybe my 5th favorite song on this record. My favorite Crowded House song of all time is World Where You Live. But World Where You Live, Now We're Getting Somewhere, Don't Dream It's Over, Mean to Me, maybe my 2nd favorite Crowded House song. I mean, that's how the record starts out. And on the first song on the second side is Something So Strong. And, songs like Tombstone and I'll Walk Away and Hole in the River, like great ways to round out the album. And, I mean, if I can't imagine somebody if you give this record a chance, listen to it 3 or 4 times. I don't know how you don't fall in love with the sound of this.
Agreed. Yeah. Neil,
record.
just phenomenal songwriter, knows his way around a good melody. And
I just loved, I was so happy. I wasn't happy that Lindsey Buckingham got kicked out of Fleetwood Mac, but when they announced that Mike Campbell and Neil Finn, I was like, Stevie Nicks is a Neil Finn fan. Another reason I love Stevie Nicks, because he's not somebody that the average person would think of, but I think among his peers, everybody knows you're talking about an elite talent there. Songwriter, lyric writer, vocalist. The guy is amazing.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
agreed.
You want to do this one?
Yeah. See, but you. Damn! Where'd you get that?
Oh, I got my ways, Tom.
Huh? I've got my little CD of Together Alone. Just another one. Their 4th album?
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, again, just to reiterate what Scott had said, just great. Pineapple Head, Locked Out. That's one of my, because it's such a rocker. And it just blew me away. I said, wow, these guys can really just Distant Sun, Private Universe.
Distant Sun is such, you're talking about beautiful vocals on a song. Distant Sun is just beautiful.
Yeah.
And I was telling you the other day, I'm a huge fan. The first song I put on my Crowded House playlist, which includes Neil Finn solo, Finn Brothers, and Split Enz, is how do you say it? Carry, or
yeah, I mean,
I love
it's Maori, but curry,
tomato,
yeah,
potato.
I just love the feel of that song. We got a little dust on his Persian rug. I was like, his lyrics always just draw me in. Like they're like, sometimes you don't understand what he's talking about, but he sure is painting an interesting view.
Yeah.
Might I interject just a little bit, because y'all have got these records. Remember now, I have some on the list that you haven't mentioned, and I just want to get it out. If you haven't heard Neil Young Trans, it's one heck of a record out of Australia that you need to listen to if you don't have it. Everybody needs to get a look at this, because this is by far...
That was not recorded in Australia.
It could have been.
They wouldn't have allowed Neil to.
If he wanted to, it could have been.
He could. Yes, if he wanted to, he could have.
Yeah. So I'll just show you again, Tom.
So when was that released?
Is that like a reissue?
I don't know. I it's like Breach, the Wallflowers. I didn't know I had.
He had no clue.
I had no idea this record was expensive. So that tells you I didn't pay a lot for it. But I had it in my collection. I have Wallflowers Breach, and Jake was like, well,
Tom, I was that close. I had it. He was almost like, yeah, I'll give it to you. I'm like, you got it? He's like, yeah, I have it. I'm like, Scott, you have an original, because I don't think they reissued it.
I was like, Scott, oh no, Jake, this is a reissue.
Yeah.
I got The Fire Inside from Bob Seger from Scott. Scott had no idea that album is almost impossible to find on vinyl.
Yeah.
Really?
He goes, "Oh, you can tell me you can have it."
Wow.
It's yeah, it is impossible to find. I didn't like it. I like most secret records. I didn't like it.
Yeah, no, yeah. Just one
All
of
right.
those things.
So we'll pause a little bit on Neil Finn, but I think Neil Finn's going to come up one more time.
Yeah, he's going to come up again.
All right. So I'm going to go to. I feel like it was good to talk about these two artists tonight. So I talked about Chris Ray, who inexplicitly there has no U.S. footprint or awareness. I'm going to talk about another person who might be considered the Springsteen of Australia, and that's Jimmy Barnes. And this guy is so talented. You know, he's a arena rocker, a little bit of Heartland rock sound to him, but also he does a lot of R&B soul cover records, and those are extremely popular. He has had more #1 records in Australia than any other artist in the world. When they did the Sydney Games, he was one of the featured singers. So, and he is nowhere as far as known in the U.S. They took this album and the follow-up record. They tried to break him in the U.S. Actually, how I found Jimmy Barnes is I went to a ZZ Top concert on the Afterburner tour, and Jimmy Barnes was opening, and this guy was blowing me away. I was like, "Who is this?" So I went out and got the probably the CD or the record, probably CD, and it was probably for the next year. I was constantly playing this record. You know, if you're a fan of Bryan Adams, Springsteen, Seeger, Mellencamp, you're probably gonna like his first few albums because they have that
people
sound.
would have heard him with he recorded "Good Times" with In Excess on the Lost Boys soundtrack, and he also did "Working Class Man" on the Gung Ho soundtrack with Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
So I mean,
everybody probably heard that. If you see the movie Gung Ho, there's a song in there called "Working Class Man." That was one of his biggest hits in Australia. Did get some radio play in the U.S.
Yeah.
My favorite song on this record is "I Die to Be with You Tonight." Great record song. You know, the thing about Jimmy, he's not a great songwriter, so sometimes he is dependent upon outside songwriters delivering him good material. But if he gets good material, he sings with so much emotion and passion. Great. So another artist early on in our friendship that Tom and I started talking about was he definitely knew about Jimmy Barnes, and I was like, hardly anybody in the U.S. knows about Jimmy Barnes.
Yeah,
what song on the Lost Boys soundtrack?
Good Times.
Good Times.
Yeah. Does it with
track 1.
Yeah. Oh, it was the single off of that soundtrack.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I was more familiar with Jimmy Barnes. He was in a band called Cold Chisel in Australia in the mid to late 70s, and they, just very popular. Sold out shows everywhere. I mean, again, they were a pub rock band. They played a lot of the larger pubs and the hotels, ballrooms in Australia in the mid 70s to early 80s, and just phenomenal. And then then they broke up, and Jimmy went on his own and carved out a very successful solo career in Australia.
Yeah, I mean it's not overselling to say he's a legend in Australia. The people just love him. All right, what do you got next, Tom?
My next pick, talking about Australia and renowned singer-songwriters, and this guy does write his own songs. It's Paul Kelly. Paul Kelly, words and music. A great Australian artist. I was telling Scott that to the uninitiated, Paul Kelly may be too Australian for American ears. I don't know. But again, when he's toured over here and I've gone to see him, it's phenomenal as far as the amount of people that flock to his shows. And I go, yeah, how have you heard about this guy? Oh, just through, however, people just have picked up on him. Just a great songwriter. Singing, it may be an acquired taste somewhat. He's definitely got that twang about his voice, but great songs. He's got almost 30 albums to his name. And with that being said, a lot of side projects that he did with other people. But, as far as solo goes, maybe 20 solo albums, either him solo. He started off with Paul Kelly and the Dots. Then it changed to Paul Kelly and the something girls that they had to change. Well, it was the Colored Girls, but they changed that because for an international audience, they didn't want to be misconstrued as being racist. It was nothing like that. They changed it to Paul Kelly and the Messengers, and they've released a number of albums under that moniker until he decided to go solo. Though with his solo career, he had a lot of his band from the Messengers that played on a lot of the albums as well. But he definitely used a host of different musicians on his solo albums. And the interesting thing is, even though I find this one to be perhaps his strongest album, but Songs from the South, his greatest hits compilation, that went 7 times platinum in Australia. And you might say, what's that mean, Tom, in Australia? And it means close to a 250,000 copies. And in Australia, with a population of 20 million people, that's not too shabby.
Yeah, that's a large percentage of the population has that record.
Yeah.
So it
really is. I mean, you find,
what's a listening comp for Paul Kelly? Like, because I find him to be a little different than like Jimmy Barnes or Neil Finn.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Definitely. Jimmy is more the working class. And I mean, Paul Kelly to some degree is, though it's just hard to really pinpoint his, people's attraction to Paul Kelly and his music. It's he has a lot of Australian themes to his songs, and it's I think a lot of people just call him Paul Kelly is Australia's favorite son kind of thing.
Yeah.
But he's now getting up there in age, and I don't know if he just released an album last year, so he's still recording.
Huh. Yeah, I first become aware of him because he was on that Seven Worlds Collide Neil Finn record. That's the first time I heard him.
All right, yeah. And Paul Kelly and Neil Finn, they did a number of shows at Sydney Opera House, which I've got a recording of. And they also went around Australia with that show. But they alternated between, in fact, in some cases, Neil Finn would cover a Paul Kelly song, and Paul Kelly would sing a Neil Finn song. And then they would sing songs together as well. But it was a phenomenal tour. I wasn't going to get a chance to go down there and see it, but I'd heard it was a great set of shows.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to get more into Paul Kelly. That is somebody I've slept on a little bit. I need to give him more of a chance. All right, for my last one that we're going to put in the 10, this is my 5th one. And I really love this record. I won't say it's my favorite because NXS Kick is in there and Jimmy Barnes is in there and Crowded House, but I do love this record. Midnight Oil.
Yeah.
Diesel and Dust. I don't know, something about listening to this record. Every time I put it on, I'm like, this is a good record. And I'm not the world's biggest Midnight Oil fan. Some of their albums I don't like. But this record, for my listening profile, it hit right where it needed to hit. Just love it. Great record.
Yeah, it's a great album. Even Blue Sky Mine?
Yeah, I like that. I do like that one.
Yeah. It's kind of, follow up to Diesel and Dust.
Yeah.
But it was.
I mean, that happens with artists. Sometimes they progress through their career and they hit on a sound that you like and they move away and maybe you don't like it. And I think that's with me, Midnight Oil. There's a couple records I really like. Some of their other stuff, hit and miss. But
oh yeah, they definitely did some experimental with 1098 album.
Yeah.
They was really big.
Hate that record. I think you're the one that told me to listen to it. You said it was different, and I was like, "Yeah, I don't like this."
Yeah. I think you may have bought a copy in Baltimore, and I ended up buying it. You ended up bringing it back, and I ended up buying it off your
You
show.
did, yeah, because I was like, I listened to it. I was like, "This thing's going for sale. It's not my cup of tea." So, all right. So
Jake, have you any oils? Have you listened to?
Oh, Jake knows this record real well.
Diesel and Dust, I have.
Yeah.
All right.
With hype sticker?
I don't think I have a hype. I don't think I'm Devoc worthy.
I got that from Johnny. Johnny got it. I think it's your European press. All right. So you have one more, Tom, don't you?
I had one more, and for the life of me, I couldn't find it. And you might have. I think you have a copy of it. Everyone is here.
Yeah, I have the CD.
The Finn brothers. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. So again, like we're definitely going to show our Neil Finn love.
Right. And I can't. It's a cover. It's Neil and Tim Finn together in front of a lake. I think maybe outside Christchurch, New Zealand. I'm not sure. But
and that record is it's kind of weird because the first record they did together, I would call kind of eclectic. Very. Coming from Neil Finn, from if you're looking for Message to My Girl or that sound or the Crowded House sound, that's not what the Finn Brothers record sounds like. That I have that on CD, but the second one, that's more Crowded House sounding.
Right. Well, I definitely, I could, because you mentioned the album, the earlier album from both of them, and then also Neil Finn's. I think one of his first solo album, One Nil.
Yeah,
that was quite different too.
Yeah, but there were 3 of those songs that I really liked on that. Enough to say it was okay, but it was a little different.
Yeah. But and again, I think I've mentioned that before too. That the video or the videos they did with was it Soundstage or something like that? They recorded a lot of the Everyone Is Here album along with other songs from Split Ends, but they did a video that a long play video on YouTube that was just fantastic.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that I knew when Tim Finn joined Crowded House for a couple records, and it really, I think, beefed up the harmonies because Tim sounds so good harmonizing, and really comes through on Everyone's Here record. So, they haven't done anything here, but Tim Finn's solo albums, you give them a try, or just give them a listen to on whoever your streaming service. Just some great songs. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you turned me on to. I didn't have any of the Tim Finn. You sent me a CD. I ended up getting the album, the vinyl of that CD, and I got.
I think with Escapade. The red album.
Yeah. I thought this is Tim Finn showing he can do a little bit of what Neil does too, because it was definitely mainstream sounding. It was a Crowded House kind of sound,
Yeah.
Okay, well. I'm glad we were able to do this because for the longest time I was like, well, I got to get, and I talked to Tom a long time ago about doing a feature where we talk about New Zealand and Australian artists, and maybe some people didn't appreciate that, but I think the benefit is I'm always looking for people I don't know about, and I think tonight if you haven't dove into Neil Finn or Midnight Oil or Jimmy Barnes, these are people just waiting for you to explore, and there's a lot of good music there with those people. I think everybody knows about NXS. They're probably them and AC/DC. I don't think we have to sell them to anybody.
Right.
Yeah. All right. What do you think, Jake?
I am pretty interested in listening to Died Pretty.
Yes.
And I'm going to give JJ Grey, I'm going to give that Country Ghetto. Those two records look interesting. So I'm going to give those a listen.
I tell you that JJ Grey, that pops off. I mean, the first few songs, you'll be like, "Oh man, this is good stuff."
Yeah, I'd be curious to see what you think, Jake. Definitely.
Yeah,
and Doughboy
am
Hollow.
intrigued.
Yeah, please. I think all it takes is just give it a listen, and hey, you might not be a cup of tea. Boy, I tell you, it's just good stuff.
Oh, you'd be surprised. Right? It's always great when somebody's like, "Hey, look, check this band out," and you never heard of them. You're probably not going to believe me, but when you actually do it, you come back. I had that for Scott with Phoenix, with Wolfgang Amadeus Phoenix.
Right.
I told him, I said, "Go listen to that record," and he listened to it, and he called me back, and he went, "Jake, that's a damn good record."
Yeah.
2 weeks. 2 weeks later, I owned it on vinyl. Because you went out, didn't you go out and get it for me at your local store?
I did.
Yeah.
And that's what's I love about the show is that you're always finding new artists, and I'm never one to shy away to be like, I never listened to that person, have no clue who that is. Because
I mean, that's my point. I think what's the advantage as a music lover to be closed-minded? What does it? You could put a streaming service on while you're doing other things, and you don't know, somebody's recommendation might turn you onto an artist that ends up being one of your top artists. Like, people recommend stuff to me all the time, and I'm like, well, that's not my cup of tea. I listen to it, but then there's things like Wolfgang Amadeus or Phoenix, whatever the name of that band is. That was good stuff. I remember Tom sent me a Robbie Williams CD, and I was like, oh my God, I knew Robbie Williams was hugely popular. He's like Chris Ray.
He's a character
in UK,
Oh,
but nowhere in the US. I mean, It's weird when these people end up being big stars in a part of the world and they're nowhere in the US. That blows my mind.
There are a few artists, right? Like I think you nailed it with the streaming, right? If you guys can just get a streaming service, I don't care whether it's Pandora, Spotify, whatever streaming service you use. There have been some amazing bands and artists that I have come across. One of which there's Jose Gonzalez. He was an artist that's been around, and I came across him on a playlist and just have listened to him for the last like 3 to 5 years. And then another artist is Gregory Alan Isikoff, who is unbelievable. He's just a phenomenal artist, but it is amazing some of these people that you come across.
I love his record with the Colorado Symphony.
With the symphony.
Oh my God. You talk about a beautiful sounding record. It's very quiet, but it's just, it's like atmospheric almost, like listen to it.
It's like atmospheric folk. That's kind of what I call it. It breathes, right? It's just got a lot of those.
And a coworker told me about that. They said, "Oh, I went to this." I was like, "I don't even know who that person is." And they said, "Listen to this record," and I did. Wow, blew me away. Great sound.
Well, yeah, it was the same thing with Day for Night. With my brother-in-law was the one who said, "Hey, Tom, have you heard of Tragically Hip?" I go, "No." He goes, "You got to listen to this album." Mm-hmm. And from then on, it was
Nautical Disaster was the song that I was introduced to, and I heard it one time and I was like, this band is unbelievable. Yeah. But you've got Grace 2, Nautical Disaster, you've got Emergency, which is the last song on the record. Sold me. Anything else I listened to after that, I'm like, this band is solid.
Oh, I couldn't get enough. Yeah, I had to go back.
Same.
I said, how many,
Yeah.
How many albums do they have?
And you know what? If you just know, like, I love trying to find music that I think people like, and it doesn't always hit. And I don't ever take it personal because I know, music's a very personal thing. It either strikes you or it doesn't strike you. It's not about, oh, you need to become more refined or more educated. No, it's music goes to your soul, and if it doesn't hit your soul, it doesn't. I sent Tom a record I love. I sent him the Michael Stanley Band MSB. I love that record. And Tom was like, ah. And I was like, okay, no problem. But it's a common record that I find for like $3 or $4, and I pick it up because it is a record I give to people. Jimmy Barnes is a record I've VH Freak, who is a user on Whatnot. I was playing Jimmy Barnes and got him, and he actually bought the record, and he loves Jimmy Barnes now. Omaha, Nebraska, so I'm like, well, spread a little of that. So yeah, the Michael Stanley Band wasn't Tom's cup of tea.
I really need to give them a second chance. I've still got the album. I didn't sell it because it doesn't sell up here. I don't know what it is.
Hey, you can get a good $3 for it, Tom.
I'll tell you an album that I don't see much. I don't think it's necessarily uncommon, but it's kind of hard to find in the wild sometimes. And it just made me like I forgot how such a great artist Jeff Healey was.
Yeah,
and
that's a great record. Yeah,
See the Light is like an excellent record. If y'all haven't heard it in a while, everybody knows Jeff Healey, obviously from. Patrick from Roadhouse.
Yeah.
Right. He was the bar band, and that's kind of what people associate Jeff Healey with. But he had a couple of good records, and they were pretty damn good. And he was a good guitar player, great singer too.
Oh yeah.
And as an actor, he made a good guitar player.
He did.
He was pretty bad.
He sure did.
An album I wanted to show Scott because it came up. I'm going, I've known them for years. Blue Nile, Walk Across the Rooftops. This was their first album before Hats.
You know what? I was going to buy the CD is even expensive.
And Peace Hats. At Last. Well, for a band that came out that released 3 albums in 15 years, it's a long time between drinks.
Yeah.
But this album. It just blew me away, and it's very similar to Hats, but it was their first album. And Paul Buchanan, man, the guy can write a song and just grabs you. I don't know the one, Tinseltown in the Rain. Mm. That's the one. That's the song I first heard. I think it was on college radio, and I go, man. I called him up. I said, who did this play? Some guy was scuffing around. Blue Nile. Okay, thanks. And I went out and
back
got
in
the
those
album.
days.
Yeah.
So Tom, I know you get around looking and digging and talking to other people. So if you ever see somebody have hats at a reasonable price, maybe they don't know what they got. Please, it's CD or vinyl, but I would take CD. Please pick it up for me.
A Whatnot seller. Records from the 6 from Canada.
Yeah.
He had a copy of Hats in the background, but he's not selling it.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get his Day for Night, Tom, forever.
Yeah.
He's got it. He showed me. He's like, I know you want it, and he's like, I'm still keeping my eye out. I'm like, just give me that one.
Yeah, I bought the digital, the high resolution digital download off of Quobuz. That's the streaming service I use. Because it's high resolution, and I mean that's fine, but I just something about physical media. I do like to have physical media, so I would like to, at a minimum, find it on CD. But when I looked it up on Discogs, I was like, man, the CD is going for like $85.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But great, great sounding albums and well produced.
All right, well, this is usually the time of the show that we ask if anybody has any questions. I did want to point out, I posted it up there, that I sent as a thank you to Tucker for doing these fantastic reviews that he does. I sent him a couple records. I sent him the Yola that he loved. I found a copy of that and sent it to him, but I slipped in there Jimmy Barnes, the record after the one we talked about tonight. What's the name of that? Shoot, the one after with Jonathan Cain and Neil Sean play on it. Freight Train Heart. Yes,
Okay.
So I sent Tucker a copy of Freight Train Heart. So the review that he put up is not for self-titled, but I told Tucker, and I don't know whether he liked it or not. I haven't looked at the review yet, but if he liked it, I do have a self-titled for him. At the time, I did not, because I get those records and then I give them away to people. But
Have you got a copy of Two? Have you got a copy of Two Fires?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. Only one. I don't see that one very often.
No, you don't.
Yeah, and I have all the CDs. I got those a long time ago. So we do appreciate it, Tucker. I love reading those reviews, even records I don't know. But
He does a good job.
He does a fantastic job of breaking them down song by song. And Tucker's like me, he's a lyric guy. He can find those magic lyrics. So we got to get Tucker, not to write a review. We need to get Tucker to listen to the full catalog of, at least the early records, first 5, say Crowded House, and maybe that Finn Brothers record. And Neil Finn can just write some amazing lyrics. So,
oh, definitely, yeah.
So, well, thank you, Tom. I think you are, as far as the main show, I think we had a buyer only on 4 women on the record, but this is the first time we had a buyer only. But you're not just a buyer; you've been around. Like I said, for some reason, you were one of the 7 people that hung up with me on Saturday mornings when I first started, and you mod and I see you mod for other people, so you're great representation of the Whatnot community. So we thank you for doing that. Modding's not easy. I'm a terrible mod. Only mod worse than me is Shark, and he's really bad.
Yeah.
So thank you for that, and thank you for coming on.
Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you for inviting me. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, you're always welcome here, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jake.
All right, Freight Train Heart. Yes.
Freight Train
Okay.
Heart.
So I'm going to go read Tucker's review of Freight Train Heart and have my fingers crossed that he liked it. It's good. It's a good record. I think maybe the self-titled, I guess it's self-titled. What is it called? Self-titled. It was called something else. Working Class Man in Australia, I think, is what they called the record. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't have a guest nailed down for next week. I was trying to get, when I was talking about community, and me and Devo went to the concert, Rush and Lau went to the Rush concert, and according to my thread, our chat thread we have, it looks like they went, at least Chris went down and got to meet up with Jake for a day at the model home.
He did. Well, I should have been at the Rush concert, but work was not going to let me go, so I had to pass my ticket on to Lyle. So thankfully, Lyle obliged and was like, twist my arm, and got to see a great show.
How much did tickets go for?
That ticket was probably just under $400.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris is very particular. Like when we go to shows, if he can get where, he likes to get kind of center where all the sound, where the soundboard is, to get the best sound possible. And we were originally right off the left-hand side. And he said the sound was excellent.
Yeah.
So I would have loved to have been there, and it kind of stunk that I wasn't able to make it, but work's been very demanding over the last several months, the last year especially. And I'm kind of making up for lost time. And it's very stressful, very time consuming. I don't sleep much. But I'm glad that they enjoyed it. And it was perfect because the first show apparently got canceled and pushed. And then Geddy Lee, after their show, Geddy Lee got laryngitis.
Oh, no.
And lost his voice. So he's basically still in Dallas-Fort Worth resting. And I think the next show will be on the 11th. And then they'll finally get out. So we've talked a little bit about it. I've contemplated possibly, if I can swing it, I might fly up to Michigan in August when they go and perform in Michigan. But we'll see. Work's just been tough.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah, I hope you get to see him.
Yeah.
I saw him for their 40th anniversary, so I got to see Neil Peart behind the drums. Got to see him do his solo, which was excellent. So I have that I can brag about, but I really wanted to see Annika, just see her, play, not only kind of playing drums as a tribute to Neil, but also to put her kind of touch on some of those songs too, because she's an amazing musician, amazing drummer.
That is one of the, 2026 hasn't been a year of feel good stories, but her coming aboard and having the success and being accepted by the Rush fans, who could be very harsh, is one of the feel good stories of the year.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So, Chris and I have this, it's just stupid. It's stupid humor, but that's why he and I get along so well, because in so many ways we're kind of on the same level. But anytime he comes and sees me at work, he always has to show up with a Costco hot dog and a Coke. So it is Costco hot dogs, Cokes, and just stupid chatter of like nothing.
Still the best value in town.
Still the best. $1.50, can't beat it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see. Jake, you doing a show in the morning?
I don't think so. I don't know if I'm going to go on this week or next week. We'll see. I got a lot of stuff going on at the house, a lot of stuff with the kids, trying to kind of take a little me time to rest and relax, just mentally, spiritually, physically. Like my body is just taking a toll.
Well, get a little more Whatnot community action this weekend. Heading over to Wilmington, Sharks home base, and going to meet up with Retro to trade some records. And Sharks coming over to join us. We're going to take in the local record store digging, and also hopefully some good food. And Saturday night we're doing we have, for some unknown reason, we have loaded 80 Japanese press records with OBs for $1 starts. To include, there's an Ozzy Osbourne in there. There is a Meatloaf Bat Outta Hell, and if you know anything about Japanese press records, Bat Outta Hell is an extremely hard record to find with an OB. So it's going to be a success either way. The question is, who's it going to be a success for? Are the buyers going to get a bunch of records way under market price, or are me and Jim going to do okay? But we just wanted to do this to kind of celebrate. One, July 6th is my 2-year anniversary of selling on Whatnot, and it is the 250th birthday of the country. Let's do something crazy. So we're doing 80 Japanese press records, $1 starts. And if you're looking for that show, it's under Jim's account. So Retro Retreat. Go out there and bookmark it.
All
right.
You'll get a good crowd.
Yeah, I think it usually works out. I gave up ever worrying about it. And all right. Well, again, thank you, Tom. We'll look forward to having you back again. Now that we got all the tech bugs worked out, just don't change anything before you come back. So,
right, yeah.
All right. So next week I'll find us a guest. Got a few people interested, and we'll announce that on Discord, and we'll announce it on Instagram. We'll be back, but then the week following, we're going to have the 4 women on the record back for July 16th. So got a couple good episodes coming up, and I hope everybody enjoyed our little excursion down under tonight, and we'll be back next week. All right. Take care, everybody.
Happy 4th.